It always fascinated me that generally in this country, although it's not guaranteed that it will be like this, but generally we accept the idea that we have political liberty. You're allowed to talk about alternative philosophies. As long as you're not considered politically incorrect, then you might get into trouble. But basically we're allowed to study socialism and communism and alternative forms because we have freedom of ideas. And also, we generally respect freedom of religion. People are allowed to pick and choose, even when their religious belief might be harmful to themselves. But when it comes to what we put in our bodies, we have allowed the idea to become so pervasive that we don't have the brains to know what food to put into our mouth, what medications to put in our mouth, what we're going to smoke and what we're going to drink. And in a free society, the individualist should do this. I introduced legislation not too long ago, just because it was a freedom issue, and I was surprised how many people got interested in it. I am so dedicated to arguing the case for freedom of choice. I introduced legislation that said that if you would like to, it would be okay to drink unpasteurized milk. Of course, a lot of people would wonder why bother. Well, it's one of these things like I'm on a bill right now that would permit internet gambling. There's gamblers everywhere. I don't like to gamble. Matter of fact, I don't like to use any of these drugs, prescription or otherwise, and I taught my kids not to use them. But when it comes to gambling, I don't think it's a good investment. But some people like it. Some people are entertained by it. But once again, it's freedom of choice. But the reason why I'm so determined to fight that about the internet is it's just an excuse to get control of the internet, so to tell you what you can look at on the internet. So we have several problems. We have a foreign policy that gets us into trouble and undermines our liberties and undermines our national defense. We have a monetary policy that gives us perpetual inflation in the business cycle and a major crisis facing us. We have accepted the idea of endless spending of the welfare and warfare state, irresponsibly polluting the deficits up to astronomical size that will have to be paid. And we have allowed our government to undermine the most precious thing that government should protect, and that is our personal liberty. So we have this tremendous job ahead of us. And yet, I remain an optimist. I remain an optimist on the long run. I'm more optimistic now than I was a little over a year ago before starting this campaign, because I have been so energized by you as individuals who care and understand and are continuing the process. Some people say, well, what are you going to do and how are you going to organize and take care of all these people that have joined you? I don't even want to try. Our campaign was not our campaign, it was your campaign, because so much of what happened in last year was spontaneous and at the grassroots. The fundraising and all these things, this is going to continue. There's going to be a lot more people like BJ and others that are running for office, getting involved in the political process, helping other candidates. But ultimately, one of the most important things we do, which is something I will always pursue, and that is education. Because the founders of this country were very well educated. And they knew and understood, and fortunately for us, they knew history, and they knew what freedom was all about, and they knew monetary policy, and that is why they gave us the best document. It wasn't a perfect document, but the imperfections can be corrected in a legitimate fashion by amendments. It should never be changed by ignoring. That is where our problem is. One of our problems, I believe, occurred over 100 years ago. For some reason, the political division in this country became such that you had one group of people that sort of leaned toward protecting economic liberty and wanted the marketplace to be protected. Then another group understood that, well, personal choices and social freedom and sexual preferences and something, that's another group. And they sort of are in conflict. But if we truly understand what liberty is all about, is we legalize freedom of choice in social matters and in economic matters. We should bring this idea of freedom back as a whole. That, to me, is very important. Another thing that I've discovered this past year, I've often thought about it before, but it's really been verified in the many campaign stops that I've made. Because when we get crowds together, they come together and they're really very diverse. People come together not because they agree on their social preferences, or not that they agree on their whether they want to spend money, whether they don't agree on unpasteurized milk, and they don't agree on gambling, and they don't agree on a lot of things, but they agree on the unifying issue, and that is freedom. That's what brings people together. Against our neighbors or our friends, and we don't have to use force against anybody around the world, because everything should be changed through persuasion and setting an example by what we teach our kids, what we do in our churches and our community. That's a much different way than the federal government coming in and saying, we will have a fair economy and we're going to redistribute the wealth, and another group comes in and we will tell you how you're going to behave, what you're going to eat and smoke, and then how is that done? Always at the expense of liberty once the government takes over this project. And this is where we are today. The government is involved. Now, this system that we have today is very divisive. And that's why there's so much resentment. It's very divisive by nature, but today, more broke. And that is what is being recognized when you see the value of the dollar goes down. Because this country is broke, people are getting frightened. They don't know how they're going to be taken care of. They don't understand it. We just had our freedom back, allow creative energy to research, once again, have sound money in the marketplace, the wealth would come back in an overwhelming fashion. Today, we have been taught that only the government can take care of it. Just think of how many things we passed this very week. You know, they come up, somebody needs medical care, $750 million. Okay, the president says, we need $107 billion for fighting the war. And if you vote against it, they say, well, you're unpatriotic. You don't support the troops. You're un-American. I disagree.